chosen one, do not turn away from this reminder, because a danger is quietly drawing near, and you need to awaken before a hasty choice leaves you carrying regret for far too long. I am Michael. I have not come to drive you into fear, nor do I use threats to force you to remain. I simply want you to pause long enough to see clearly what busyness, exhaustion, and tangled emotions have hidden from your sight. There are times when life moves too quickly. Signs appear one after another, and because you have grown accustomed to enduring, you convince yourself that everything will eventually pass on its own. But this time, you need to listen to the uneasiness rising within you with a calm mind. If your arms become cold, if your heartbeat quickens, or if an unexplainable feeling prevents you from being completely at peace, do not immediately conclude that disaster is certain to happen. Receive it instead as an invitation to slow down, breathe deeply, and observe what in your life is causing you to lose your peace. The body sometimes speaks when you have ignored too much tension, and the heart sometimes trembles when a truth you do not want to acknowledge is standing at the door. I want you to be awake, not panicked, discerning, not suspicious of everyone. Something in recent days has made you feel that you are not being told the whole truth. It may be a small change in the way someone treats you, a promise that continues to be delayed, money that has not been clearly explained, a conversation that is being avoided, or the feeling that you are being excluded from a decision that directly concerns you. I am not telling you that every silence is betrayal, nor do I want you to turn sensitivity into suspicion. I am only reminding you that sincere trust does not mean closing your eyes. Healthy love allows you to ask questions. A transparent relationship does not force you to deny your intuition, merely to preserve a false appearance of harmony. If someone is hiding something that may hurt you, the truth will not be uncovered through heated accusations, but through patient observation, clear questions, and firm boundaries. Look at actions rather than listening only to promises. Look for consistency rather than being carried away by sweet moments. What belongs to truth will remain standing when exposed to light. What has been built upon deception will reveal itself when you no longer ignore the smallest signs. Do not believe that your shield of protection will disappear simply because you experience a moment of weakness or have an unanswered question. Protection is not a reward reserved only for those who never doubt. I know that you have endured exhausting days, sleepless nights, and moments when you wondered how much longer you could continue. I do not abandon you because you are afraid, nor do I turn away because you do not understand. Yet, protection becomes more difficult to recognize when you repeatedly enter places about which you have already been warned, give decision-making power to people who do not respect you, or allow loneliness to pull you back toward what has broken you many times before. Some traps do not look frightening. They appear as an attractive promise, an opportunity to make money too easily, a secret meeting, a demand for secrecy, or an apology that is not accompanied by change. I will help you recognize them, but you must be willing to look at the truth rather than only at what you desire. I can illuminate the path, but you must still be the one who lifts your feet and leaves the place of danger. Perhaps you are asking why this reminder has come at the very moment when you feel most exhausted. It is because, in the darkness where no one could see you, you repeatedly longed for a sign that would tell you whether to continue or stop. You lay awake at night, carrying questions you could not put into words. You tried to appear strong during the day, while being filled within by foreboding, anxiety, and the fear of being hurt once again. Your sighs were not forgotten, but the answer does not always arrive as an immediate miracle that removes every problem. Sometimes the answer is the courage to verify the truth, seek help, speak with someone trustworthy, protect your assets, change your passwords, preserve evidence, review documents, or leave an environment where you no longer feel safe. Heaven can guide you, but wisdom is also expressed through practical action. Do not underestimate these small steps, because many serious dangers have been prevented simply because one person chose to pause and pay attention at the right moment. I want you to understand clearly that this warning is not intended to make you believe that every passing second is bringing you closer to disaster. Genuine urgency leads you toward clear action. False urgency robs you of your ability to think. Therefore, if someone demands that you decide immediately, send money immediately, keep something secret immediately, or cut yourself off from those who could help you verify the situation, step back. What is good is not afraid of examination. Truth does not need to manipulate emotion in order to be believed. If an opportunity does not give you enough time to read carefully, investigate, or seek advice, consider it a reason for caution. If someone repeatedly makes you feel guilty merely because you establish boundaries, remember that love does not imprison you in shame. I do not want you to live as someone who is constantly looking over your shoulder in fear. I want you to become someone who listens, discerns, and refuses to betray yourself merely to hold on to something unworthy of you. Sometimes the greatest trap is not found in another person's scheme, but in your habit of postponing what you already know must be done. You may already recognize that a relationship is draining you, that a partnership lacks transparency, that your spending is out of control, or that an environment is gradually silencing your voice. Yet you continue telling yourself to wait longer, endure longer, and hope a little more. Hope is beautiful, but hope without boundaries becomes an excuse to remain in pain. I will break the trap by giving you clarity, but you must respond through action. Call someone you trust. Speak openly about what is troubling you. Examine what needs to be examined. Stop giving access, money, or personal information to anyone who makes you feel unsafe. If you believe that genuine danger is near, do not remain alone, and do not dismiss that feeling. Go to a family member, a safe place, or the appropriate authorities. Courage is not standing still merely to prove that you are strong. Courage is knowing when to leave before harm occurs. Even so, do not allow this reminder to turn your heart into a locked door. Not everyone who comes near you carries harmful intentions, and not every mystery conceals betrayal. I teach you to discern, not to condemn. Give truth time to appear, but while you wait, protect your peace. You do not need to take revenge upon someone who deceived you, nor do you need to wish suffering upon them. What you need is to step beyond their control, reclaim your right to make decisions, and allow justice to do its work. A miracle is not always the disappearance of a circumstance overnight. Sometimes the miracle is the day when that circumstance no longer controls you. It is the moment when you can look at what once made you tremble without losing yourself again. It is when you understand that a closed door may have saved you from a path that was never meant for you. Now, breathe more slowly, and remember that I am with you in peace, not in the noise of pressure. It is not too late for you to change direction. You have not gone too far to return. No mistake has the right to define your entire future if you sincerely desire to make things right. Use this moment to examine three things: the place where you feel unsafe, the person who continually causes you to doubt your value, and the decision you have delayed even though you know it must be made. Then choose one practical step today. Do not attempt to solve everything at once. One phone call, one meeting, one careful review, or one clear refusal may change the entire direction of your life. I will sustain you when you choose truth, protect your dignity, and step away from what drains you. My beloved child, tragedy is not your fixed destiny. When you listen with awareness, act with wisdom, and refuse to be ruled by fear, what seemed about to overwhelm, you may become the turning point that leads you toward freedom, peace, and a more stable life. Everything before you at this moment begins with a choice, but I have not come to make you afraid. I have come to keep you from stepping into a place that could harm you. Remain within the peace I am opening before you. Because when you know how to pause, listen, and discern, you will not easily be swept away by unexpected waves. I do not call you near in order to plant a vague anxiety in your heart, nor do I use urgency to make you tremble before tomorrow. I simply want you to recognize that there are times when protection begins with a very simple action: refusing to rush, refusing to react emotionally, and refusing to move forward while something within you is still telling you to slow down. This message has come like a gentle hand resting upon your shoulder, reminding you that you do not need to race forward, simply because everyone around you is urging you on. Sometimes your safety eye is found in remaining still a little longer, observing one more time, and waiting for what is unclear to reveal itself. Pause the noise around you and listen to the beating within your chest. If it feels stronger, do not immediately call it fear. Sometimes it is the awakening of something deep within you that recognizes an important matter approaching. There are moments that cannot be explained by reason, yet the stillness within you understands that you are being reminded of something. This same sensitivity has guided you through stormy days when you believed you no longer had the strength to continue. It helped you avoid wrong decisions, pulled you away from relationships that caused you to lose yourself, and kept you standing when every door appeared to close at once. Many times you thought hope was no longer ahead of you, but then a gentle prompting led you to take one more step. Today I am using that same peace to call you back to clarity. I want you to understand that a true warning never makes you a slave to fear. It awakens you without stealing your ability to think. It reminds you to be careful without forcing you to distrust everyone. Therefore, when you hear me tell you to pay attention, do not imagine terrible things waiting to happen. Receive it as an invitation to mature. You need to observe the way you are living, the decisions you are preparing to make, the people you have allowed too close, and the words you are about to speak while angry. Some things may change simply because you choose silence instead of conflict, verification instead of immediate belief, and rest instead of continuing to push beyond your limits. Protection does not always arrive through a loud miracle. Sometimes it appears through awareness that keeps you from stepping onto a path that was never intended for you. Do not dismiss the importance of this moment, but do not allow urgency to rob you of calmness. Tomorrow is not under your control, but this moment is in your hands. You can continue scrolling past every sign, remain so busy that you cannot hear what is happening within, or you can pause and ask yourself, what am I being reminded about? Which decision do I need to avoid? Which boundary has been opened too widely? Which conversation should be postponed until my heart is more peaceful? You do not need to possess every answer immediately. I only ask that you do not betray the awareness being placed within you. When something does not feel right, slow down. When you do not clearly understand another person's intentions, do not give them all your trust too quickly. When you are exhausted, do not force yourself to make a decision that may affect your entire future. My call is not intended to display power, but to awaken what you have forgotten about yourself. You are not as powerless as you once believed. You have the right to close a door that allows your peace to be violated. You have the right to refuse an offer that sounds attractive but leaves you uneasy. You have the right to say that you need time, greater clarity, and a healthy distance. Perhaps you have grown so accustomed to pleasing others that you ignore your own inner voice. You have smiled when you truly wanted to step back, agreed because you feared disappointing someone, and remained too long in places that no longer respected you. But tonight, I am calling you back to dignity. Not every open door is an opportunity, and not everyone who approaches you carries pure intentions. Look at the result produced by their presence. If you become increasingly peaceful, clear-minded and strong, that is a positive sign. If you remain confused, exhausted, and disconnected from yourself, you need to reconsider the distance between you. The shift you have recently felt is not a reason for panic. It is a sign that an old season is gradually coming to an end. Perhaps your sleep has become restless, your mind continually returns to the same question, or you repeatedly remember a decision you have not completed. Do not immediately interpret these things as dark omens. Often, something within you is merely trying to bring a truth to the surface so that you will no longer avoid it. Something within your home, the way you organize your life, or your relationships with those closest to you needs adjustment. It may be an atmosphere of tension that has never been named, a habit causing people to grow increasingly distant, or a financial issue being delayed because no one wants to face it. I am inviting you to bring light into that place with calmness rather than accusation. Begin with what you can do today. Look again at your home, not only with eyes that see possessions, but with the sensitivity to recognize what is taking away its sense of peace. Is there a conversation that needs to happen in a gentler tone? Is there a door that needs to be locked, both literally and in the sense of personal boundaries? Is someone carrying too much pressure without ever being heard? Is there an expense, document, or responsibility that has been neglected for too long? Do not wait until everything becomes chaotic before you act. Wisdom notices a small crack and repairs it before it spreads. I am not telling you to distrust those you love. I am asking you to care deeply enough to recognize when your family needs change. At the same time, protect your mind from negative images. Do not allow one warning to become hundreds of imagined scenarios that steal your sleep. I am not calling you to keep watch in fear. I am calling you to awaken in peace. You can review what needs to be reviewed. Care for your health, organize your finances, remain in contact with loved ones, and restore boundaries that have been neglected. Then allow yourself to rest. Awareness does not mean living in constant tension. Once you have done your part with wisdom, lay down what lies beyond your ability. I do not want you carrying the entire world upon your shoulders. I want you to understand that protection is also built through ordinary choices, daily discipline, and the ability to recognize when to move forward, when to stop, when to speak, and when to remain silent. My beloved child, this is not a declaration that disaster is waiting for you. It is a reminder that life can change direction when you listen at the right moment. A breakthrough does not have to come after a painful event. It can begin when you choose not to repeat an old mistake. Tears may be prevented when you refuse to enter an unnecessary conflict. A loss may be avoided when you review something that appears insignificant. A relationship may be saved when you speak the truth without causing harm. A good opportunity may be preserved when you refuse to allow impatience to destroy it. I am placing the power of choice before you, not to pressure you, but to remind you that you still have the ability to help shape the path ahead. Therefore, remain in stillness a little longer and do not rush after the voices calling from outside you. Allow your heart to become clear before making a decision. If you need to leave a place, leave in peace. If you need to remain, remain with wisdom. If you need to speak, speak with compassion. If you need to close a door, close it without holding bitterness. I do not lead you through panic, but through enough light to reveal the next step. When you choose to listen, you will not be swallowed by the darkness of doubt, nor controlled by fears of things that have not happened. You will pass through this transition with open eyes, a steady heart, and a peace that cannot easily be stolen. What I desire to protect is not only the home around you, but also the sanctuary within you, where clarity, trust, and hope may continue to dwell. My beloved child, at this very moment, a highly influential person is quietly paying attention to you. But this is not unfolding in the way you have often imagined. You have not seen them, you have not heard your name being mentioned, and you do not yet know that somewhere beyond your sight, a decision concerning your future is gradually taking shape. This person may hold an opportunity, a recommendation, an approval, or a resource capable of changing the direction of what comes next. Even they do not fully understand why they continue to feel prompted to consider something involving you. They simply sense a quiet stirring, as though your name keeps returning to their thoughts, even though no clear relationship has ever existed between you. I want you to understand that help does not always come through thunder or dazzling signs. It may begin as a small thought within the heart of someone in authority, through an ordinary conversation, or through a door you never imagined you would be allowed to enter. Therefore, do not allow exhaustion to make you surrender just before everything begins to move. Jesus has seen the years in which you patiently endured, the nights when you silently wiped away your tears, and the mornings when you stood up again, although no one knew how deeply you had struggled simply to continue. He is not grieved because you were weak, but because you repeatedly believed that you had been forgotten. He saw you wonder why your prayers had not yet been answered, and why people who appeared to make less effort seemed to receive so easily what you had awaited for so long. I have been sent to remind you that delay is not always rejection. Some things have already been prepared, but they must meet the right time, the right person, and the right level of maturity within you. What is approaching will not touch only one isolated area. It may bring change to your work, finances, health, important relationships, and even the way you see yourself. Yet this is not a reward for perfection. It is the fruit of a journey you continued walking, even when you believed many times that you could go no farther. Even so, you need to remain awake, because immediately before a great door opens, distraction often appears in familiar forms. It does not necessarily wear a frightening face. Sometimes it is merely an invitation that pulls you away from an important priority, an argument that steals your peace, a hasty decision made because you are too eager to see results, or a negative thought that causes you to withdraw before anyone can offer you an opportunity. The adversary does not need to destroy everything in a single moment. It is enough to move you away from the right path through a choice that appears insignificant. Therefore, during the days ahead, do not act solely from temporary emotion. When faced with an important proposal, slow down and observe. When you hear something that disturbs your heart, do not respond immediately. When you feel compelled to prove yourself, remember that your value does not depend upon winning an argument or being recognized by everyone. You are standing before a threshold you have unknowingly approached and then withdrawn from many times throughout the years. It was not because you were unworthy, but because you had grown so accustomed to small things that you became afraid whenever something greater appeared. There were times when an opportunity came near, but you hesitated because you feared failure. At other times, you knew you needed to move forward, yet one person's criticism caused you to withdraw into yourself. There were also moments when you became so occupied with unimportant matters that you forgot the deeper calling within your heart. I am not reminding you of these things in order to condemn you. I am reminding you so that you will recognize that this time, the first thing that must change is not your circumstances, but your agreement. You must agree to believe that you can enter a new season. You must agree to abandon the habit of diminishing yourself. You must agree to complete what remains unfinished. Send what you have prepared. Answer the call you continue to avoid, and accept the responsibility you once believed you were incapable of carrying. Within your circle of acquaintances, you must also remain discerning. An action may appear perfectly ordinary while concealing dishonesty. It may be an offer wrapped in apparent kindness, a story only half told, or a person attempting to place you in a situation where you must choose between your peace and pleasing them. I do not want you to distrust everyone, because blind suspicion can also cause you to lose healthy relationships. Yet do not grant someone access to your life merely because they speak sweetly or appear to understand you. Look for consistency between words and actions. Observe how they behave when they do not receive what they want. Notice whether they respect your boundaries or continually attempt to make you feel guilty whenever you say no. Truth does not need to manipulate you in order to be trusted, and sincere affection does not require you to exchange your dignity for the privilege of remaining. When something is unclear, investigate calmly. Instead of secretly imagining conclusions, you have the right to ask questions. You have the right to request more time. You have the right to refuse a decision that disturbs your peace. But do not condemn someone because of a glance, a delayed message, or a passing feeling. True discernment always walks with patience, while fear usually pressures you to react immediately. I will not lead you through panic. My reminder may be serious, but peace will always remain within it. When you are truly being warned, you will sense the need for caution without being driven into despair. You will understand that you need distance rather than revenge. You will see the path more clearly instead of drowning in hundreds of assumptions for which you have no evidence. What is about to open before you also requires practical preparation. If you expect financial advancement, begin by managing carefully what you already possess. If you pray for restored health, Respect your body's need for rest, nourishment, and movement. If you desire a relationship to be healed, learn to speak truth without causing unnecessary pain. Listen without defensiveness, and establish boundaries without becoming bitter. If you are awaiting a new position, perform your present responsibilities well even when no one praises you. These small things are the vessel through which you will receive something greater. I do not want a miracle to arrive and then become a burden, because you were unprepared to preserve it. I want change to be established upon a firm foundation, so that when you are raised higher, you do not lose humility. When you possess more, you do not forget the days of scarcity. And when others recognize you, you still know who you are after the applause has ended. The influential person who is paying attention to you is not the only source of your future. They may simply be one link within a journey that has already been prepared. Therefore, do not idolize them, do not flatter them, and do not alter your good character in order to be chosen. What truly belongs to you will not require you to become false. When the opportunity appears, receive it with gratitude, professionalism, and maturity. If it is delayed, do not collapse. One human being may change their decision, but the good intended for you is not limited by their will alone. One door may close while another opens. One path may be delayed while a more suitable road takes shape. What matters is that you do not abandon yourself while waiting. I am standing near you, not to make you afraid of the unknown, but to protect the clarity within you. Guard your words, because one moment of anger can create consequences that last for a long time. Guard your time, because repeated delay may cause you to miss what you have prayed to receive. Guard your relationships, not by controlling others, but through wisdom in the way you give trust. Guard your hope, because former disappointments will always try to persuade you that nothing good will ever arrive. You do not need to know every detail unfolding beyond your sight. Your part is to live uprightly, prepare carefully, and keep your heart from being led by fear. Therefore, my beloved child, continue forward with open eyes while keeping your heart tender. An important decision may be under consideration. A great door may already have begun to move, and a necessary truth may soon be revealed. Whatever happens, do not panic, do not condemn yourself, and do not surrender your power to words that cause you to forget your value. Allow peace to become the gatekeeper of every choice. Whatever requires you to lose your integrity in order to receive it, courageously refuse. Whatever invites you to grow, accept responsibility, and live according to the best within you, boldly enter. I will remind you when you need to stop, strengthen you when you grow weary, and protect you from destroying what is being prepared. This time, do not turn away just before the threshold. Stand firm, complete your part, and believe that the greatest change is not only what is coming toward you, but the fact that you are becoming wise, steady, and compassionate enough to preserve it.